when Polish writer Witold Szabłowski tried to convey sentiment shared by many people in countries bordering Russia since the invasion of Ukraine. At an event we both attended in London earlier this year, he reached for a chicken coop surrounding a chicken coop. A fox. It was an apt metaphor. The fox was huffing and puffing quietly, prowling menacingly, tightening the noose. Beyond the fence, our neighbor's house is being searched. We watch from afar. Our homes are still silent. However, the tension and unrest within them escalated like a pressure cooker. The uneasiness among pro-democracy voters was intense ahead of the elections to be held in Slovakia last Saturday. Now the results are in and we are watching with sadness as parties sympathetic to Russia try to form a coalition government. Slovakia's border with Ukraine may be short, only 60 miles long. But for over 40 years we lived under Russian control as one of the countries forcibly incorporated into the Eastern Bloc, long enough to leave a deep mark on several generations. But as it turns out, too short for much of the country's population to remember how terrible it was. The Smer-SD party came first with 23 of the votes. Smer is defined by one-man three-time Prime Minister and former communist Robert Fico. Fico, who seems ready to come to power for fourth time if he can form a coalition, is a populist nationalist who does not hide friendship with the Kremlin. His pro-Russian orientation and that role model is Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban. He speaks openly about not sending one more bullet in military aid to Ukraine, cutting funding to NGOs, dismissing the police chief and prosecutor general, and taking over Brussels. We have been enduring 5 years of political crisis since 2018. When respected journalist Ján Kuciak and his fiancée Martina Kušnírová were killed after investigating corruption in Slovak politics. After mass demonstrations broke out in the country, Fico was forced to resign. Charges against him for his ties to criminal organizations were eventually dropped. All this tired people and shook people's trust in the government, institutions and parliamentary democracy. So why, when we are so afraid of what is happening in Ukraine, would so many Slovak voters want Fico and Smer return power and subject us even worse manipulation by Moscow? Fico's Landorder rhetoric plus promises higher pensions and a halt to the imaginary influx of immigrants have undoubtedly worked for many older voters and people struggling with the high cost living. Even centrist and pro-European parties have joined the anti-immigrant bandwagon. The HLA's party, led by a former Fico ally and now kingmaker, erected billboards reading "Stop Illegal Immigration. We need more immigrants to fill vacancies in manufacturing and healthcare. But for now we are mostly a transit country for immigrants heading to Germany." Slovak police chief Stefan Hamran with a police officer at a migrant camp near Velky K.